Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going way back in time to explore the history of technology.
Oh, perfect.
From the very first tools humans made to the incredible gadgets we have today, it's going to be a wild ride through invention after invention. You know, those things that changed how we live.
It really is amazing to see how human curiosity, the need to solve problems, have driven us from, using simple stones to crafting these complex machines.
Yeah.
It's like a continuous story of what if?
Yeah.
How can we make this better?
I love that. Okay, so let's rewind all the way back to the Stone Age.
Okay.
What was life like for our early ancestors, and how did they start using technology?
Imagine a world without cars, electricity, or even metal.
Oh, wow.
For most of human history, life was all about survival.
Right.
Our early ancestors in the Paleolithic era were incredibly resourceful, using what they found in nature to make their lives easier and safer. Their first tools were made of stone.
Okay.
Things like hand axes for chopping wood or cutting meat, and scrapers for cleaning animal hides.
So it's like those early humans were the original makers.
Yes.
They had to figure out how to use what they had to create what they needed.
Exactly. And one of their biggest breakthroughs was figuring out how to control fire.
Right.
It provided warmth, helped them cook food, and scared away dangerous animals. It was a game changer for their survival.
Huge.
They also learned how to make clothing from animal skins, providing protection from the elements.
These advancements might seem basic now, but they were huge leaps forward back then.
Absolutely. Each invention, even something as simple as a sharper stone tool, built upon what came before.
Yeah.
Just think, the ability to make fire led to the development of hearths, then to kilns for pottery,
Right.
eventually to furnaces for metalworking.
Wow.
It's like a chain reaction of innovation.
I never thought of it that way. So how did we transition from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age?
Yeah.
What sparked this major shift?
The key was discovering smelting, which is the process of extracting metal from ore. It's like a magic trick, turning rocks into tools.
Yeah, right.
Imagine the excitement when they first realized they could create stronger, more durable tools using this new material. Bronze, an alloy made by combining copper and tin, quickly revolutionized everything.
So bronze was basically the Iron Man suit of its time, giving them an edge in every way. Did that lead to more advanced societies?
You could say that. Bronze tools led to better farming, hunting, and building. This allowed for larger settlements, which meant more people could work together, leading to the development of organized societies and even cities.
It's fascinating how a single technological leap can have such a ripple effect, shaping how we live and interact with each other.
It really highlights how technology is intertwined with human progress. And let's not forget about shipbuilding. Bronze nails made ships stronger, which meant they could travel farther, leading to more trade and exchange of ideas between different groups. The world was becoming more connected thanks to bronze.
It's amazing how these early innovations set the stage for the world we know today. But before we move on, you mentioned earlier that the three-age system, stone, bronze, iron, isn't universal. What did you mean by that?
It's a great point. We often think of technological progress as a straight line, but it's not always the case. Even today, there are communities in remote parts of the world that still use tools and techniques reminiscent of the Stone Age.
Oh, wow.
It reminds us that technology develops differently based on various factors like available resources, environment, and cultural practices.
That's a good reminder that there are many paths to innovation.
Right.
Okay, so we've covered the Stone Age and the Bronze Age. What happened next? Enter the Iron Age, right?
Exactly. Iron was a game changer for a few reasons. First, iron ore was much easier to find than the copper and tin needed for bronze.
Okay.
That meant more people could make iron tools. Second, iron was even stronger and could be made into sharper, lighter tools. And third, it was generally cheaper to produce.
So iron was like the affordable smartphone of ancient times, making advanced technology available to more people.
That's a great way to put it. And with iron, we see even more dramatic changes in agriculture, construction, and warfare. For instance, stronger iron plows allowed for more efficient farming, which meant larger populations could be supported. We also see more elaborate fortifications and weapons made of iron. The world was entering a new era of possibilities and challenges.
Okay, so we've gone from stone to bronze to iron, each material bringing about significant changes to how humans lived and interacted. What's fascinating is how those early discoveries paved the way for the rise of some of the first great civilizations, ready to travel back in time and visit ancient Mesopotamia.
Let's go. Mesopotamia was a hub of innovation, and their advancements still influence us today.
What were some of their key achievements?
Think bustling cities with grand palaces and temples. Mesopotamia is where we see sophisticated urban planning emerge with complex systems for managing water for drinking and irrigation. They understood the importance of hygiene and sanitation, creating drainage systems to keep their cities clean.
That's incredible. They were thinking about city planning and public health thousands of years ago.
They were. They also invented the wheel, which revolutionized transportation and made it possible to move goods and people more efficiently.
Right.
Imagine trying to build those grand cities without carts and chariots.
I can't even picture it. The wheel is such a simple invention, but think about how much it changed the world.
Exactly. And we can't forget about writing. They developed cuneiform, a system of writing using wedge-shaped marks on clay tablets. This allowed them to record laws, stories, and even business transactions.
Wow.
It was a huge leap forward in communication and record keeping.
Wow. It seems like they were constantly innovating and finding new solutions to everyday problems. What about ancient Egypt? What technological wonders did they bring to the world?
The Egyptians were master builders and engineers, and their pyramids are a testament to their skills.
Yes.
Those massive structures were built using simple machines like ramps, levers, and rollers to move and lift those gigantic stone blocks. It's mind-boggling to think they achieved this without modern machinery.
It's awe-inspiring. Their pyramids still stand today, a reminder of their ingenuity and advanced knowledge.
Absolutely. They also developed a writing system using papyrus, a plant they grew along the Nile River. This allowed for lighter and more portable records than clay tablets. Think of it as the ancient Egyptian version of paper.
So the Egyptians were early adopters of going paperless.
You could say that. And let's not forget their advancements in medicine. They had a good understanding of anatomy and even performed surgeries. They also developed a calendar system remarkably similar to the one we use today.
Okay, the Egyptians are officially blowing my mind. It seems like every ancient civilization had its own area of expertise and innovation. What about the Indus Valley civilization? What were they known for?
The Indus Valley civilization, located in present-day India and Pakistan, was remarkably advanced in urban planning and sanitation.
Okay.
Their cities featured grid-like layouts with sophisticated drainage and sewage systems. Some houses even had private toilets and bathrooms.
Wow.
They were way ahead of their time in terms of public health.
It sounds like they understood the importance of clean water and sanitation for a healthy community.
They did. And their attention to detail and practicality is impressive even by today's standards.
It's clear that these early civilizations were much more advanced than we often give them credit for. Their innovations laid the groundwork for future technological advancements. What about ancient China? They were known for some incredible inventions, right?
Absolutely. Ancient China was a powerhouse of innovation with a long list of groundbreaking inventions. You've probably heard of the 4 great inventions: the compass, papermaking, gunpowder, and printing.
Yeah.
These inventions had a profound impact on the world.
Those are definitely some game changers. Did they have any other lesser-known achievements?
They were also pioneers in drilling techniques, extracting natural gas from deep underground. They even used natural gas to heat their homes and for lighting.
Wow. They were harnessing the power of natural resources for practical applications. I'm sensing a theme here. It seems like many ancient civilizations were focused on finding ways to improve their lives and make everyday tasks easier.
You're right. And it wasn't just about practical solutions, they were also pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Let's talk about the Hellenistic Mediterranean. This period, after Alexander the Great's conquest, saw a blending of Greek and Near Eastern cultures leading to a surge in innovation.
What were some of their standout achievements?
Think about water. They made significant progress in water lifting technology, developing devices like the vertical water wheel and Archimedes screw.
Right.
These helped with irrigation and water supply for their cities.
These early inventors were like the ancient Greek MacGyvers, always coming up with clever solutions.
They were. And they also developed intricate automata, which are like early robots.
Yeah.
These were mechanical devices that could move and perform tasks on their own. They even invented the first keyboard instrument, the water organ, which used water pressure to create sound.
It's mind-boggling to think about the level of ingenuity and craftsmanship they had back then.
It is. And this brings us to the Roman Empire, known for its grand architecture, vast infrastructure, and practical engineering.
Yes.
Their aqueducts, for example, were marvels of civil engineering. They transported water over long distances using gravity, supplying their cities with fresh water.
Right.
Some of them are still standing today, a testament to their durability.
I've always been fascinated by their aqueducts. They must have taken a tremendous amount of planning and skill to build. What other inventions did they contribute?
They also invented concrete, a material that revolutionized construction. It allowed them to build strong and durable structures like roads, bridges, and those impressive aqueducts we just talked about. Amazingly, Roman concrete structures have stood the test of time, some for over 2,000 years.
It's incredible how their innovations continue to influence us today. It really is. Now, are you ready to fast forward a bit and explore the medieval period?
Absolutely. I'm curious to learn what advancements were made during that era.
The medieval period, often thought of as a time of knights and castles, was actually a period of significant innovation, especially in Europe and the Islamic world.
So it wasn't all about swords and shields. There was a lot of technological progress happening too.
Exactly. One of the biggest advancements was harnessing the power of nature.
Okay.
Water mills and windmills became widespread, providing a reliable source of energy for grinding grain, powering workshops, and even sawing wood.
That's amazing. They were basically tapping into renewable energy sources centuries ago.
They were. And this shift to water and wind power had a huge impact on productivity and efficiency.
Right.
Just imagine trying to grind enough grain for a whole village using just manpower.
Oh, yeah.
The watermill made that task much faster and easier.
It's like their version of automating a process. Were there any other innovations that made life easier during this time? The Islamic world in particular made incredible strides in agriculture. They introduced new crops, irrigation techniques, and farming practices that significantly increased food production. Think about the impact of bringing rice to Europe from Asia. It became a staple food source for millions of people.
It's amazing how food and technology are interconnected. New farming techniques and crops could support larger populations, leading to more complex societies.
Exactly. And the Islamic world also played a crucial role in transmitting knowledge and technologies.
Okay.
They adopted papermaking from China and brought it to Europe.
Right.
Imagine a world without paper.
It's hard to fathom. No books, no maps, no writing pads. That would have been a very different world.
It would have, and we can't forget about their contributions to mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Many of the advancements made during the Islamic Golden Age laid the foundation for later scientific breakthroughs in Europe.
So it was a time of cross-cultural exchange and learning, with each region building upon the knowledge of others. What about Europe during this period? Were there any notable inventions there?
Europe saw some remarkable inventions too. The mechanical clock, for instance, revolutionized how people measured time.
Cool.
Before that, people relied on sundials and water clocks, which weren't very accurate. The mechanical clock allowed for a more standardized way of keeping time, which was important for things like trade and scheduling.
I can see how that would have been important as societies became more complex. Were there any other inventions that improved everyday life for people in Europe?
Another invention that made a big difference was spectacles. People who had difficulty seeing could now use glasses to improve their vision. This must have been a life-changing invention for those who previously struggled to read or perform delicate tasks.
It's like they invented a way to upgrade their eyesight. Were there any advancements in navigation during this time?
Absolutely. The compass and the astrolabe, both adopted from the Islamic world, became essential tools for navigation. These instruments helped sailors determine their direction and position at sea, making long-distance voyages possible.
So these navigational tools paved the way for the age of exploration, when European explorers set sail to discover new lands and trade routes.
Exactly. And we can't forget about their architectural achievements. Medieval Europe saw the rise of magnificent Gothic cathedrals, made possible by advancements in architectural techniques and the use of flying buttresses. They were also pushing boundaries in military technology, developing plate armor, powerful crossbows, and even early cannons.
It's amazing how they balanced beautiful architecture with advancements in military technology. It seems like the medieval period was much more innovative than we often give it credit for. It wasn't just about knights and castles after all.
It wasn't, and all these advancements laid the groundwork for the next major turning point in history, the Renaissance.
Ah, the Renaissance. I think of Leonardo da Vinci and his incredible inventions. Was he really as innovative as we've been led to believe?
Da Vinci was certainly a genius, but the Renaissance was about more than just one man. It was a period of cultural and intellectual rebirth in Europe. Think of it as a rediscovery of classical learning and a surge in artistic, scientific, and technological exploration.
So it was like hitting the refresh button on art, science, and technology. What were some of the key technological advancements of this period?
One of the most significant inventions of this era was the printing press. Before that, books were copied by hand, which was a slow and laborious process. The printing press, using movable type, allowed for the mass production of books, making knowledge much more accessible and affordable.
The printing press was like the internet of its day, revolutionizing how information was shared and spread.
It's a great analogy. And this explosion of knowledge fueled the scientific revolution, a period of tremendous advancements in astronomy, physics, biology, and other fields.
It seems like the Renaissance was a pivotal moment in human history, setting the stage for the modern world.
It was, and this brings us to the Industrial Revolution, a period of unprecedented technological advancement that transformed how we live, work, and interact with the world.
Okay, here's where things get really interesting. What were some of the key factors that sparked this revolution?
The Industrial Revolution was fueled by a confluence of factors, but perhaps the most important was the availability of cheap energy in the form of coal. Britain, in particular, had vast coal reserves, which they began to exploit on a massive scale.
So coal was like the superfood of the Industrial Revolution, providing the fuel for growth and innovation.
Exactly. This new energy source powered a wave of innovation, especially in industries like textile manufacturing, mining, and transportation.
What were some of the key inventions that emerged during this time?
The invention of the steam engine was a pivotal moment. It was initially used to pump water out of mines, but it was quickly adapted for other uses. Steam engines began powering factories, locomotives, and even ships, ushering in a new era of efficiency and productivity.
So the steam engine was like a multi-tool, revolutionizing multiple industries at once.
It was, and it wasn't just about machines. The Industrial Revolution also saw the development of new materials like iron and steel, which were used to build everything from railroads and bridges to skyscrapers and ships.
It seems like the Industrial Revolution was a period of constant experimentation and innovation, with new ideas and technologies emerging all the time.
It was. It was a time of both immense progress and social upheaval, with lasting consequences that we still see today.
Speaking of social upheaval, what were some of the challenges that emerged during this period?
The Industrial Revolution brought about significant social and economic changes. The shift from rural agricultural life to urban factory work led to rapid urbanization, often with poor living conditions for the working class. Child labor was common, and working conditions in factories were often dangerous.
So it was a time of both progress and hardship, with some benefiting more than others from these technological advancements.
That's a good way to put it. It was a complex period, with both positive and negative consequences that we still grapple with today.
It's a reminder that technology is a powerful force, and it's up to us to use it wisely and ethically.
Absolutely. Now, are you ready to explore the Second Industrial Revolution, which began in the late 19th century?
Absolutely. I'm eager to learn what new technologies emerged during that time.
The Second Industrial Revolution was marked by a new wave of innovations in electricity, petroleum, and steel. It saw the rise of large-scale industry and the development of new technologies like the telephone, the light bulb, and the internal combustion engine.
So this was the era of Edison and Tesla, a time of incredible discoveries in electricity.
Exactly. The development of practical incandescent light bulbs and the creation of the first electrical grids revolutionized how we lived and worked. Imagine a world without electric lights. It would be a very different place.
Hard to imagine. Electricity is so essential to our modern lives. What about other technological marvels of this era?
Well, the invention of the telephone by Alexander Graham Bell transformed communication, allowing people to speak to each other over long distances for the first time. It was like magic. And the development of the internal combustion engine paved the way for the automobile, a technology that would reshape transportation and urban landscapes.
It seems like this period saw the birth of many technologies that are still central to our lives today. What about mass production? Was that a product of the Second Industrial Revolution?
Yes. Mass production techniques like Henry Ford's assembly line made automobiles and other consumer goods more affordable and accessible to the masses. This led to a consumer revolution where more people could afford to buy products that were once considered luxuries.
So technology was not only changing how things were made, but also who had access to them. That's a powerful shift.
It was. And this era also saw the development of new forms of media, like photography and cinema, which captured and shared images and stories like never before. It was a time of great cultural change, fueled by technological advancements.
It's amazing how much technological progress occurred in just a few decades. What happened next? Did the pace of innovation continue into the 20th century?
It absolutely did. The 20th century was a whirlwind of technological advancements, from the rise of aviation and the development of the computer to the invention of the internet and the exploration of space.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. Bring on the 20th century. What technological revolutions awaited humanity in this new era?
The 20th century saw technology becoming even more integrated into everyday life. Think about the rise of household appliances like refrigerators, washing machines, and vacuum cleaners. These appliances transformed domestic life, making chores easier and freeing up time for other pursuits.
It's incredible how these appliances changed the way people lived, especially for women who often bore the brunt of household chores.
You're right, it was a significant social shift. And then, of course, there's the radio and the telephone, which became increasingly widespread, connecting people across vast distances and transforming communication. And then came the television, which brought news and entertainment right into people's living rooms. It was a time when the world felt both bigger and smaller.
It's like technology was shrinking the globe while also expanding our access to information and entertainment.
Exactly. And the 20th century also saw incredible advancements driven by military research and development. The development of electronic computing, jet engines, and radar had profound implications for both warfare and civilian life.
It's interesting how technologies developed for war often find applications in everyday life.
It's a recurring theme throughout history. And speaking of transformative technologies, we can't forget about nuclear power, a source of energy that promised both immense potential and grave dangers. It was a defining moment, marking the dawn of the atomic age.
The development of nuclear power was a game changer, both in terms of energy production and its potential impact on warfare. What about medicine? What were some of the major breakthroughs in the 20th century?
The 20th century witnessed a revolution in medical science. Antibiotics transformed how we treated bacterial infections, saving countless lives. Vaccines became widely available, preventing the spread of deadly diseases like polio and measles. And the development of powerful diagnostic tools like the electron microscope allowed scientists to see the world at a microscopic level, leading to new understandings of diseases and how to treat them.
These medical advancements dramatically increased life expectancy and improved the quality of life for millions of people around the world.
They did. And we also saw the development of organ transplantation and the rise of genetic engineering, opening up entirely new frontiers in medicine. It was a century of incredible progress in understanding and treating diseases.
It's amazing how far medical science has come in just a few decades. It seems like the pace of innovation was only accelerating.
It was. And this brings us to another defining trend of the 20th century, the rise of the information age. The invention of the transistor in the mid-20th century paved the way for the development of integrated circuits and ultimately the personal computer.
The personal computer. It's hard to imagine life without them now.
Yeah.
How did they change the world?
The personal computer revolutionized how we work, learn, communicate, and play. It put the power of computing into the hands of individuals, giving them access to information and tools that were previously only available to large institutions.
So the personal computer democratized access to technology and information.
Exactly. And the development of the internet and fiber optic networks in the late 20th century created a global communication system that transformed how we interact with the world. It connected people across continents, making it possible to share information, ideas, and culture instantly.
It's incredible how quickly the internet has become an indispensable part of our lives.
It has. And the late 20th century also saw the birth of the mobile phone, a technology that would ultimately converge with the internet to create the smartphones we know and love today. It was a technological convergence that put the world at our fingertips.
The smartphone revolution. It's definitely a defining characteristic of the 21st century. What about other areas of technology? What else is happening in the 21st century?
The 21st century is building upon the incredible progress of the 20th century, with technology advancing at an even faster pace. We're seeing breakthroughs in fields like artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, biotechnology, and renewable energy. It's an era of unprecedented innovation and possibilities.
It's exciting and a little bit overwhelming to think about all these advancements happening at once. Where do we even begin to understand the impact of all these technologies?
It's true. It's an era of exponential technological change, and it can be hard to keep up. But that's what makes it so fascinating. We're on the cusp of breakthroughs that could fundamentally reshape our world in ways we can only imagine.
It feels like we're standing at a crossroads with so many potential paths forward. What are some of the key questions we should be asking ourselves as we navigate this rapidly changing technological landscape?
That's a great question. I think one of the most important questions is how to ensure that technological progress benefits everyone, not just a select few. We need to be mindful of the digital divide and make sure everyone has access to technology and the opportunities it brings.
That makes sense. Technology should be a tool for empowerment, not a source of further inequality. What about the impact of technology on the environment?
That's another crucial consideration. We need to develop and use technologies in a sustainable way. We can't ignore issues like climate change and resource depletion. We need to find innovative solutions that help us protect the planet for future generations.
It sounds like we need a more holistic approach to technological development, one that takes into account not just the technical aspects, but also the social, ethical, and environmental implications.
Absolutely. We need to move beyond a purely technocentric view and embrace a more human-centered approach, one that prioritizes well-being, equity, and sustainability. We need to think about the long-term consequences of our actions and make sure we're creating a future we can all be proud of.
It sounds like we need a new kind of renaissance, a revival of humanism in the age of technology.
I love that idea. A Renaissance 2.0, where we rediscover the importance of human values and use technology as a tool to create a more just, equitable, and sustainable world.
It's an inspiring vision, and it's a reminder that the future isn't predetermined. It's something we create together through our choices and actions.
That's a powerful thought. The future is ours to shape, and technology can be an incredible force for good if we use it wisely.
Well, I think we've covered an incredible amount of ground today. We've journeyed through time from those first stone tools to the mind-blowing technologies of the 21st century. It's been quite a deep dive into the history of technology and its impact on human civilization.
It has. I hope our listeners have gained a new appreciation for the ingenuity, creativity, and resilience of the human spirit, which has driven technological progress throughout history. And I hope they're inspired to think critically and creatively about how they can be a part of shaping the future of technology.
I'm sure they are. And as we wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. The history of technology is full of amazing inventions and breakthroughs. But it's important to remember that technology is ultimately a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. It's up to us to decide how we use it to shape the world we want to live in. So as you go about your day, think about the technologies you use, how they impact your life, and how you can use them to make a positive difference in the world. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey through the history of technology. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep innovating. It feels like we're standing at a crossroads with so many potential paths forward. What are some of the key questions we should be asking ourselves as we navigate this rapidly changing technological landscape?
That's a great question. I think one of the most important questions is how to ensure that technological progress benefits everyone, not just a select few.
Right.
We need to be mindful of the digital divide and make sure everyone has access to technology and the opportunities it brings.
That makes sense. Technology should be a tool for empowerment, not a source of further inequality. What about the impact of technology on the environment?
That's another crucial consideration. We need to develop and use technologies in a sustainable way. We can't ignore issues like climate change and resource depletion. We need to find innovative solutions that help us protect the planet for future generations.
It sounds like we need a more holistic approach to technological development, one that takes into account not just the technical aspects, but also the social, ethical, and environmental implications.
Absolutely. We need to move beyond a purely technocentric view and embrace a more human-centered approach, one that prioritizes well-being, equity, and sustainability. We need to think about the long-term consequences of our actions and make sure we're creating a future we can all be proud of.
It sounds like we need a new kind of renaissance, a revival of humanism in the age of technology.
I love that idea. A Renaissance 2.0, where we rediscover the importance of human values and use technology as a tool to create a more just, equitable, and sustainable world.
It's an inspiring vision, and it's a reminder that the future isn't predetermined. It's something we create together through our choices and actions.
That's a powerful thought. The future is ours to shape, and technology can be an incredible force for good if we use it wisely.
Well, I think we've covered an incredible amount of ground today. We've journeyed through time from those first stone tools to the mind-blowing technologies of the 21st century. It's been quite a deep dive into the history of technology and its impact on human civilization.
It has, and I hope our listeners have gained a new appreciation for the ingenuity, creativity, and resilience of the human spirit, which has driven technological progress throughout history. And I hope they're inspired to think critically and creatively about how they can be a part of shaping the future of technology.
I'm sure they are. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. The history of technology is full of amazing inventions and breakthroughs. But it's important to remember that technology is ultimately a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. It's up to us to decide how we use it to shape the world we want to live in. So as you go about your day, think about the technologies you use, how they impact your life, and how you can use them to make a positive difference in the world. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey through the history of technology. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep innovating.